I could swap places with you, I would, because at least I've lived more of a life than you have. Living 15 years is not a life at all.
Yeah.
This is my cousin Joel. Like most 15-year-olds, he liked hanging out with his friends and playing football. But on one evening, on December the 6th, 2014, everything changed. Joel was walking down this road on his way back from football practice when a car started chasing him. A man got out who was carrying a knife and stabbed him at this point here. He had mistaken him for a gang member. Joel stumbled and collapsed, and he later died in hospital.
It's like someone taking half of you away, because I don't know, it's just something that you can't explain, and you blame yourself even more because you think you're meant to be an older sibling, and if your sibling has a problem, they're meant to come and talk to you. So you're like, maybe like I wasn't there enough for him, or I don't know, like maybe I didn't go the extra mile.
The siblings and close friends of victims rarely share their story, so I decided to find out how others have been affected. Sadly, my cousin isn't the only victim of knife crime. In London alone, 173 young people have been killed as a result of youth violence in the last 10 years. Over 110 of those were stabbed.
Nobody's trying to be a gang member. No one's trying to be a gangster. No one's coming out here and thinking, you know what, next year I'm going to try and shed something's blood.
Here at Whitehall, friends and family have come to remember the young people lost to youth violence in the first ever annual Minute of Silence.
In terms of the loss with CJ, Tommy, I mean, you have to change the way you look at it. I call it turning pain to positivity. So obviously they're gone. That's the reality of it. They're not here no more. So what do you do to keep their memory alive? So it's like you build a legacy. So with CJ, we've got the foundation, with Tommy, and you do all these events, things like this.
I decided to find out more about how young people can react to loss from the national charity Child Bereavement UK.
Some people will be very loss orientated, weeping uncontrollably, very shut down, not able to leave the house, not wanting to go out, not able to see people. Other people actually, in response to the enormous horror of that situation, actually respond in another extreme and actually want to do things to make a difference, want to be the person that organises things, who wants to know exactly what happened, finding out information, trying to make a difference for others in the future. So those kind of restorative behaviours. What we know with children is that actually children need to be able to do both. They need to be allowed to experience the pain and the upset of the loss, and they need to be allowed to do new things, be part of what's going on and think about the future. Actually, if children are given the right support, they will be able to move between those two behaviours.
Because my protector's not here, I have to protect myself. So if I act like this vulnerable little girl, then people are just going to take advantage of me.
Chanel Wallace was just 12 when her brother Daniel was fatally stabbed. Now 8 years on, she has tried to come to terms with his death through raising awareness about knife crime.
Because I'm at his age now, I think that's why I'm struggling a little bit, because I have a lot of these things running through my mind, like, oh, what was he doing compared to what I'm doing, or what else should I be doing? Like, I feel a lot of pressure to do certain things. Doing the blogs was more like, it was just letting it out of my system, but I can't lie, it's still very much in my system, because I could blog about it every day, talking about it and whatever, but it's still not going to change the fact of what has happened. If I didn't have counselling at a young age, I think I would have been very misunderstood about what was going on. I wouldn't have been able to deal with it, because I felt like everyone was kind of busy doing their thing and they didn't think about me or my sister.
For Bode, who spent his teenage years as part of a gang in Forest Gate, having the support of the church around him when he lost his friends prompted him to positively change his behaviour.
By the time I started losing people around me, I had already been in the church, and by God's grace, I had people around me that are Christians that are able to guide me. And that also stems from the fact that as a child, my parents, I'd already kind of embedded that in me, that, you're a child of God. So when all else fails, when I'm, going through whatever situation, I might have just gotten in a fight or whatever, I'm still going to go to church, So I kind of did it religiously. And even though it's always good to do things knowing what you're doing, but the fact that I did it religiously still helped, because when I needed people around me, there were people around me then.
Groups like Yak and K are trying to reach out to families to offer support and raise awareness about knife crime.
I know a lot of families are going through so much, and nobody actually takes time to listen to them and find out what they want to do. What I would like to happen pretty soon is for us all to come together with all our different expertise and then decide, you be in charge of fundraising, you be in charge of mentoring, you be in charge of business workshops. So we just all work together to help, because there's a lot going on, but everyone's just doing things separately.
Here in Peckham, one of the worst areas affected by knife culture, 2 policemen have set up the Nigerian Police Forum as a means of helping the community. They're keen to encourage wider engagement.
There's so many groups out there that need support, and if more of our community was focusing on supporting these groups, we could achieve so much more.
It's a proactive approach. We don't like the reactive kind of situation. We don't want it to be when somebody's bereaved, that's when they start making contact. We want to get there and make the communications, get the engagement beforehand.
Dealing with death is difficult. To even think when you're being robbed, the injustice of having your sibling, your son, your daughter, your auntie, your uncle, whoever, taken away from you in such a way, it's a double blow.
Nothing can bring back my cousin and Fumi's brother, but it's important that young people get the support that they need during bereavement. I've been inspired by the efforts to stop knife crime, which can help the healing and hopefully will stop more young people from becoming victims.